Level 1. The defendant. You're 28 years old. In the next 90 seconds, a judge is going to say a number out loud, and that number becomes the next several years of your life. Your palms are already sweating through the borrowed jacket. The court reporter's fingers never stop moving, 400 words a minute. And every single one of them is about you. Somewhere behind you, someone you love is holding their breath. Nobody in this room is going to tell you the part that actually matters. The sentence isn't what decides where you're going next. A different number does. One you haven't even been told exists yet. You won't see it for 6 more weeks. By the time you do, it'll already be too late to argue with it. The prosecutor reads 63 months out loud like it's a weather report. Your court-appointed attorney doesn't flinch. He's read 400 of these numbers this year alone. And yours isn't even in his top 10 worst. Someone in the back row exhales for the first time in an hour. You don't turn around. You can't. Federal sentencing runs on a grid, 43 offense levels, 6 criminal history categories, 258 boxes in total. Somewhere in that grid sits one box with your name already penciled into it. Decided months ago by people you have never met, using math you were never shown. Nobody explains the grid to the person it's actually about. It is the single most important spreadsheet of your entire life, and you will never once be handed a copy. The pre-sentence report runs 11 pages, backed by exhibits nobody in your family has read past the cover of. Somewhere in there is a paragraph describing exactly who the system has decided you are. You'll spend years arguing with a paragraph you barely remember writing the source material for. 97% of federal cases never see a trial at all. Yours didn't either. There was never a jury in this story, just a plea, a grid, and a Tuesday. The judge asks if you have anything to say. You do. Nothing comes out. 63 months. Gavel down. That's level 1. This is the climb. But the sentence was never the real number. The real one is waiting 6 weeks from now. In a windowless room. On a form nobody bothers to read out loud. A van with barred windows delivers you to a building with no sign out front. Inside, they hand you a folded jumpsuit, a paper cup, and a number. 8 digits. Stamped onto a form, assigned to you for the rest of your natural life. It will outlast most of your relationships. It will follow you through every transfer, every visit, every envelope mailed in or out. Forever. Then comes the real math. A worksheet with categories, sentence length, criminal history, age, education, history of violence, escape risk. Someone adds the points in about 4 minutes flat, without once looking you in the eye. The total decides everything that happens next. A camp with no fence at all. Or a yard with 3 fences and gun towers watching every one of them. Nobody in the courtroom mentioned this worksheet. It carries more weight than the judge's number did. Federal audits have found this same worksheet miscalculated before, for real people. Sitting quietly on file, uncorrected, sometimes for years, until somebody happened to double-check the math. Nobody warns you the number is capable of being wrong. You'd have to already know that. To know to ask. Every photograph you've ever taken gets replaced by exactly one. Same lighting. Same wall. Same 8 digits under your chin. The last picture most people will ever see of you until you walk back out. Your total comes back low. Somewhere, a bunk is already being assigned to a bed that used to belong to somebody else. Welcome to your number. Your points are low enough to land you at a camp, the version people call club fed. Usually said by people who've never spent one night inside one. There's no fence here, not one. That sounds like good news. It's actually the trap. No fence means there's no line to trip over by accident, and exactly one line left to cross on purpose. Walk off camp property, even 200 yards for a sandwich. And it's a brand new federal charge. Added years stacked onto the years you already have. plus a one-way transfer to somewhere with 3 fences instead of 0. You work an $8 a month kitchen job, alongside 300 other men in a camp built for 210. You watch men twice your age still working off decisions made in their 20s. The freedom here isn't freedom. It's a quiet, everyday test nobody warns you you're taking. There's a tennis court nobody's played on in years. It just needs to exist for the brochure. The watch keeps ticking. That's the trap. One disciplinary write-up. A shoving match you got pulled into breaking up. Not starting. Bumps your points high enough to move you. Now it's a low. Dormitories. Not cells, but a single fence topped in razor wire. And a hierarchy that sorts every new arrival by car, by region, before anyone bothers learning a first name. 600 men get sorted into roughly a dozen cars before your first lunch tray even hits the table. And which car claims you decides who has your back for the next several years. You learn the real economy inside a week. Stamps move like cash. Sealed mackerel packets move like cash. Actual dollars are nearly useless in here. A man's word is worth exactly what he's already proven it's worth. Down to the cent. And reputations never get a clean slate. You keep your head down. You stop counting the 63 months and start counting individual days instead. The only version of the math that doesn't make you want to put a fist through the wall. That's the economy. Someone 2 bunks over gets caught with a shank during a routine shakedown. You didn't know. You didn't ask. Proximity is enough. Your points climb anyway. And by the time you're called to central office, the explanation on the paper has already stopped mattering. Medium security. Gun towers now. For real. Not just for show. Movement runs on count. 4 times a day. And if the numbers on the clipboard don't match the men standing in front of it, nobody moves until they do. Today, they don't match. You stand in the yard for 51 minutes. Sun on the back of your neck. Waiting for 2 men from a different unit to be found. Violence here isn't random. Whatever the outside world assumes about it, it's transactional, protective, tribal, in ways it took you months to even start reading correctly. A debt of 2 soups gets settled before a debt of 2 years ever does. You watch one get settled 4 feet away and keep folding your laundry like you didn't see a thing. Everyone on this yard calls it peaceful. Everyone on this yard is lying. Including, eventually, you. That's the count. A fight breaks out on a yard you weren't even assigned to that week. 2 names go into the incident report. By the next morning, somehow, so does a 3rd, yours. In the same paragraph. For reasons nobody explains twice. High security now. Cells, not dorms. Lockdowns can run 3, 4, 5 days straight over something that happened 2 units away. In a building you've never even walked through. You stop asking why. Nobody up here has an answer that helps you sleep. And the ones who pretend to are usually the most dangerous men on the tier. During a lockdown week, you're in that cell 22 hours out of 24. Meals bagged and passed through the same slot every single time. There's a door at the end of this hallway. Nobody talks about it. Until the day they're standing directly in front of it. And by then, talking isn't really the point anymore. It's smaller than every other door in the building. On purpose. The rumors about what's behind it are always wrong. Always somehow worse than what people imagined. That's the door. Before you ever reach it, there's a version of this system almost nobody outside it has ever heard of. A transfer between facilities rarely happens by plane. Point to point. More often, it happens by bus. Windows blacked out, chained at the waist to the man next to you. Moving through a chain of regional jails 1 stop at a time. These transfers can take weeks. Sometimes months. For that entire stretch, your attorney can't reach you. Your family doesn't know where you are. You're simply gone. Somewhere between 2 points on a map. Inside a system built to move bodies. Not answer questions. 23 hours a day. Alone. In a room roughly the size of a parking space. Meals arrive through a slot near the floor. Delivered by hands attached to a face you never see. The light never fully goes out, not once. Not for a second. By day 9, you lose track of what day it actually is. By day 16, you're talking out loud to the walls. And somewhere around day 20, you stop noticing that you're doing it at all. Your hands shake reaching for the tray through the slot. Not from hunger. There's nothing left to shake for except the shaking itself. 1 hour a day, you're allowed into a cage barely bigger than the cell itself. Alone. To see a rectangle of actual sky. The average stay down here runs past a month. Some men do a year. A few do far longer than that. The watch keeps ticking. That's the box. Here's the part almost nobody outside these walls ever actually hears. There's one federal prison, cut into a hillside in Colorado. Engineered so precisely that nobody gets out. Not through the wall. Not the yard. Not the mind. Since it opened its doors in 1994. Not a single person has ever escaped it. Not once. Not for a minute. People call it the Alcatraz of the Rockies. The men inside just call it the end of the line. Inside, you'd share a cell block with names the entire world already recognizes. Men who traded away the right to ever explain themselves again. A concrete stool, poured directly into the floor. A concrete desk. A shower that runs on a timer you don't control. Some of the men in there haven't touched another human being. Not a handshake. Not a hug. In over a decade. Roughly 400 cells in total. Restraints on. Every single time. Even for the walk to a shower down the hall. You were never sent here. 99% of the entire system never is. But every level underneath this one. Every fence. Every fight. Every locked door. Exists only because this floor does. The floor nobody leaves. Years pass. More of them than you like to count out loud. You never climb back up again. Only down. One clean record at a time. 1 year folding quietly into the next. It turns out there's a third number. One nobody in that original courtroom ever bothered to mention. 54 days a year. Earned back automatically for simply staying out of trouble. Quietly shaving real time off the number the judge read out loud years ago. It isn't forgiveness. It's arithmetic. Plain and unglamorous. But it's the only kind of hope this entire system hands out in writing. Signed and dated. Finish the right classes. The ones nobody explains until you're already sitting in the room. And the number grows faster. You do that math on a folded commissary slip almost every night. For years. In handwriting that's changed since the first time you did it. It's the only thing in here that's actually completely yours. That's the third number. The gate opens onto a parking lot that didn't exist the day you went in. The phones look different in every pocket around you. The prices on a vending machine look wrong. Like a typo. Someone you love is standing beside a car you've genuinely never seen before. Aged in ways that look like twice the number of years you were actually gone. You have 72 hours to report to a halfway house. Or those 8 digits pull you straight back inside. The 8 digits don't end even after that. They follow you onto job applications. Onto housing forms. Onto background checks. For the rest of your natural life. The one number in this entire system that never actually lets go of you. No matter how many good days you earned back. Behind you, the gate closes on its own. The way it always has for every person who's walked through it before you. Ahead of you, for the first time in years. Everything else is open. That's the gate. Somewhere right now, on a kid's wrist, a Casio F91W is ticking. He doesn't know yet what the second number is going to cost him. He doesn't know how many of his years will get measured out 54 days at a time. He doesn't know about the smaller door. Or the floor nobody climbs back down from. He doesn't know about the bus with the blacked out windows. Either. He'll find out the same way everyone else did. one level at a time.